That is not the purpose towards which end you have been granted the number 2 yellow lead pencil. Can we help you by emotionally supporting you in any other way? I realize that you of all of us have mastered the complexities of the English alphabet and feel the heady pressure to push on to higher matters. But let's not forget, we're wrapping up the first week of kindergarten here. Let's not push it. These are the stepping stones across life's creek we have here. Let's watch them carefully so that later we don't find ourselves up life's creek and without a handle. These are the little moments which, taken collectively, will form the greater part of your personalities. Hence, the lives you will lead, the happiness and sorrow you will fall heir to. In short, after this, you're cooked. And Mr. Bear wants us to think about something else. Well, yes, assuming we're all willing to dismiss Eastern religion. And I defy anyone who's truly lived this end day to write about it in coherent essay form. Well, yes, barring Eastern thought, which I think anyone who's really serious has done. We can only believe that this is it. We only go around once. And Miss Fallon bets that makes you want to shout something. Life is short. Let's get it right.
Life is short. Let's get it right.
Indeed, let's get it right. You can succeed and you must succeed. Life's a crapshoot. But with the right attitude, you can be or you can have anything you want. And later, you will thank me for being the most positive, illuminating influence in your otherwise drab, pedestrian little Paula McPhee. I'm surprised at you. Everyone keep your places and turn right back around. Paula, take your hand out of there. Paula was having a private moment there, forgetting for just an instant that she's here in this great public institution, where it's nobody's business but Paula's, and mine because I'm interested in Paula and in helping her to a greater understanding of public life. Let's everybody help clear the air, shall we? Let's think of something white. Flour, good. Sugar, good. Ice, yes. Snow, yes, snow. And little snow angels. Little children making innocent little snow angels. And children laughing. The world a beautiful place of peace and children laughing. I feel better, do you? Oh, who brought the apple? Playing hard to get, huh? If Miss Fallon would do anything at all, what do you suppose she would do? Win the lottery? No. If Miss Fallon won the lottery, she'd still have all the same problems she has now. Only a whole lot of money to put between herself and them. Go to the moon? No. If Miss Fallon went to the moon, she wouldn't be able to take her father for his walks on Sundays. And then what would happen to his circulation? Get married? No. If Miss Fallon got married, she'd have to put all her faith in one other person. And Miss Fallon is not yet insane. No. If Miss Fallon could do anything at all, she would wrap you each in gossamer blankets and she'd steal you away to come live with her and her father. And she'd love you so much that you'd never develop conflicted personalities, class distinctions, or sexual identities. If I could, I'd love you so much you'd never grow old. Well, we had a pretty good time this first week, didn't we? Miss Fallon's going to rest her eyes for just a minute. And she'd like the buddies to sing the Merrily, Merrily song for her before the bell rings. I used to cry when my brother Bertie got a bigger slice of cake than me. But when Bertie moved to Toledo with his own house and his own cake, I have as much cake as I want. No, different things make me cry now. What can make me cry now? Guns! But more than that, children with guns! I could cry right now, kids. But instead, I'm going to control my feelings and try to put them to more constructive use later when I write a note to your mother, Timothy, asking her if she has stepped up to 1985 with the rest of us, if she has any cognitive recollection whatsoever of the 60s, and if she could possibly give just a little more thought to the metaphors that she's placing at your ready disposal. I'm not blaming you. I'm not even blaming her. But this hurts me. Your hands were made to hold quicksilver and moonbeams. I'm sorry. This fellow got a little carried away there. Let's get back to the past, shall we? Miss Fallon loves the past because it's always there to return to. Where did we leave off yesterday? Ah, yes. We came across the very land bridge, didn't we? Behind a brash and tawny red man. There's a popular theory making the rounds at present. This will interest you, Mr. Bassett. That the Indians were actually descendants of one of the ancient tribes of Jews migrating southward. Migrating where? Well, toward Miami, Alan. Where do you go every Christmas? Oh, it's a theory, for God's sake. Your life's going to be lousy with them. So get out of the habit now of asking so many highfalutin questions. Guess what? Nobody knows anything for sure. I know you may find that hard to believe now, but later in life it's going to be a great comfort. I'm anxious to jump ahead, or behind, as the case may be, to that thrilling moment in history, 500 years ago, when our Indian friend looked up from the fire he was tending, looked up past the still shadows of cypress and elm, looked out to the distant horizon and saw 3 ships purposefully creasing what was once the mighty ocean. To that singular moment in history when our Indian friend caught sight of 3 mighty ships reaching inexorably toward a new land, and he said to himself, "I'm fucked." What was his name? Well, any name you like. Lance the Indian. You don't like Lance the Indian? Doesn't sound Indian enough? See, this is the whole problem in a word. Pigeonholing now leads to bigger things later on. Who knows what bigotry means? Seal? When a man marries 2 ladies. No, that's bigamy. How do you know about bigamy, Seal? Your father's a bigamist. I see. Is this in the courts now? He's being arraigned today. I'm sorry. Are you staying with your mother, Seal? Oh, the other lady has moved in with your mother. And they're trying to reach the other 3 ladies on the West Coast. Wow. What was your father's job? Sexual therapy. From coast to coast, huh? Hey, how would you like to come over and have some cupcakes with me this afternoon after school? We can make turkey centerpieces out of paper plates. Sound like fun? After all, this is November. And November always makes me think of the Mayflower. Oh, those were the days, kids, before everything got all screwed up. Oh, a new world. Just think of it. How many people would have come across on the Mayflower who could have gotten to see comes to fine cuisine, how about a big bowl of cornmeal mush? Yick! Right. And let it be known that every Indian, right down to the present day, overcooks the meat. I mean, the Irish are bad, but the Irish know that you only cook the meat to get the gravy. This is the foundation of macho Catholicism. Cook the meat to get the gravy. Live your life to get into heaven. But the Indians overcook the gravy. And if you don't finish everything on your plate, you get a scalping. You bet those pilgrims ate 3, 4, 5 helpings. They even ate the turkey legs, which personally I say go right in the trash. They called it celebrating, but we know different. And let me tell you this. You notice that the turkey dinner only appears once a year. This is known as genetic memory. For you sometimes Catholic children, this is very much like original sin. The cells remember in fear. You don't understand a word I'm saying, do you? This is all going right over your heads. Well, it doesn't matter. Miss Fallon was raving anyway, due to starvation and premenstrual syndrome. Real food. The perfect fruit. Well, there was that little incident back there in Genesis. But it tested our Yankee know-how, didn't it? Look what we learned. Adaptability, flexibility, opportunism. Come on in uninvited and take right over. Sassel, if you do that again, I'll break your legs. It's important that you of all of us take heed of what I'm saying. You showed some marked scientific aptitude on those placement tests Miss Fallon gave this fall, which means that you might be able to save all our asses from untimely demise in the days ahead. Do us a favor, kid. Develop a real respect for the nuclear issue right now. How? Well, I don't know. I studied history in college. Miss Fallon doesn't have any gifts for the sciences. Most of the children in here don't have any gifts for the sciences. So if I were you, kid, I'd get on speaking terms with nuclear fission pronto. Otherwise, it'll be a lot of innocent bystanders on your conscience, and a life spent wasted in the juvenile courts. Did anyone ask me if I wanted to do nuclear war? No. They just went ahead and followed their instincts. Better dead than red, better dead than red. Some of you have probably heard your rival fathers mumbling this in their sleep. You see, it's all part of this funny little dream they're having, in which they come out on top. They like to come out on top, and so they dream about it. Your mothers like to be in the middle, so they keep having children. And because the bottom's the only opening, that's where you go. Until, if you're a boy, you grow up and start dreaming about coming out on top. And if you're a girl, you get caught in the middle. Does anyone mind if I lie down for a second? This Fallon's getting one of those blinding little headaches she gets when she starts seeing too many of the far-reaching implications. Oh, my head, oh, what a banger. Sixpence and a blow. That's right, Irene. That's what your mother did to get ready for that new sister who's come to live with her. No, Miss Fallon isn't getting ready for delivery. She just watches entirely too much PBS. No, the only thing Miss Fallon wants to deliver right now is a tickle. Just imagine that Miss Fallon sneaks up behind each of you and she tickles and tickles and tickles and tickles and tickles you. There. Just look at those smiles. Don't let anybody ever tell Miss Fallon she doesn't have huge That's why today's lesson is entitled Biology, Psychology, Sociology, Philosophy, Romance, Pop Culture, and You. You see, kids, there's a lot that goes into this lifelong affair of boys and girls growing up into able-bodied men and women who find each other fascinating and set about forming unions designed for equal profit sharing. Sasso! If she wanted your finger in her ear, she's perfectly capable of asking. She did ask. I see. Okay, let's squeeze a little biology in here while we've got the ears. All right, kids, what do you think of when I go like this? Mr. Knoll, what do you see when I go like this? The combustion engine. Okay. Miss McPhee, what do you see? Threading a needle. Okay. I don't see the point of going any further with this. You kids have the general idea. Sex invites a marriage between business and domestic life. What starts out as fun for everyone winds up needing a lot of corporate planning. You just try to remember those hard facts when you're out there steaming up the windshield in the years ahead, and they're pushing a lot of recycled Johnny Mathis at you. And one more thing, and you girls take special note, sex screws up everything. That's all I'm going to say. Just remember you heard it here first. It's the fastest way to make an enemy of a man that you're otherwise having a very nice time with. Why? Because sex leads to other things. You meet a person perfectly at random, and before you know it, you're fantasizing about moving into his apartment. And do you think he's ready for that? How do you think he feels about that, huh? I think there are a lot of men out there who think that sex is yucky because it leads to those unmentionable other things. And then they have sex with you, and you become yucky. And then they don't call you on the phone the next day. Take me as a case in point. Miss Fallon got herself all done up the other night and went down to a bar aptly called the Public Trough. She found herself having many drinks with a man named Granger. And, oh, you little rascals, you almost got me talking about my very most private personal life again. And you know what a savage note Miss Fallon got from Mr. Coltrane's principal. The last time she told you a story from her very most private personal life. You see, kids, if other grown-ups get wind that I'm leveling with you, it makes them look bad. Because then they have to level with you, and for most of them, it's impossible. Most of your parents, God forgive them, are full of bullshit. Now, I say that with all due respect, because they're making and raising you. But if I were you, I would not allow bullshit in my home. When they start in, just go to your room, close your door quietly but firmly, and say, hey, the bullshit stops here. What, Metcalf? Is that what I do? Well, no. But my daddy's old now and he doesn't pop much anymore. And, well, don't be too hard on them. They really don't know what they're doing. They have to appear that they know what they're doing because they have these little faces staring up at them when it's all just spit and Scotch tape, however you dress it up. You're the only one with a watch, Basselman. What time is it? Because if it's 2:30, it's time for me to go to the office. That's right, I go to the office every day at 2:30 because that's when Tom and Jerry is over, and my daddy likes to tell me what made him laugh. Not time yet? You see, kids, people need other people to talk to about what they like, about what's bothering them, when they feel lost. I know you think I've got a lot of nerve talking to you like this, and I do have a lot of nerve. I blame it on my estrogen level, which is really higher than it should be. And I'm not sleeping very well. I lie there at night and listen to my father breathing, and I think, I'm not a little girl anymore. I'm not even a young lady anymore. And let's face it, kids, I'm a woman. stuff. How many of you kids watch Dallas? I want to have an honest show of hands. Okay, all right. How many of you kids watch Dynasty? All right, I want the truth now. How many of you kids have seen Behind the Green Door? Where are your parents? Locked in the bedroom, huh? Making funny noises while they're working on the budget. Let me tell you something. Life is not like it is on Dallas. People do not dress that well. And people do not truly get revenge for wrongs done to them. And people do not die simply because no one comes along to love them. What, Alan? Well, thank you. It does make me feel better that you'd be glad to have me on a date if you were a little older. Well, thank you. I do have kind eyes, don't I? What, Sorber? After I said I had kind eyes, you said something. You said the kind of eyes I'd like to poke out. Sorber made a joke. Which illustrates another point. In life, when people talk about their problems, sometimes they break down at funny moments, and they talk all around the problem, and the dialogue is more baroque. Who knows what baroque means? Irene? No money in the checking account. That's right. Baroque means no money in the checking account. Sometimes that's exactly what it means. Very good, he set free the slaves. And, what's a slave, Earl? A black person forced to work for no pay. Right. And here's a tough one for you kids from high-income families. What's the difference between a slave and a cleaning lady? What, Basselman? You let the cleaning lady go home. That's about the size of it, kid. But a little victory is a victory too. And finding our way home starts out with finding out who we are inside. Mr. Lincoln did a pretty good thing, didn't he, setting free those slaves? But before they were set free, they didn't have much to think about, did they? Their lives were bad, but they were familiar. One day kind of bled into the next. It was after they were set free that the questions started. Questions always start with personal freedom. And that's where fulfillment starts, too, once you get the fear out of the way. Take me, for example. I've been living alone with my father for many years. Now, you might think that what I said is a contradiction in terms, but it's quite possible to be alone with someone, especially an older someone who drifts further and further away. I love my daddy. He held me on his knee. But he's really belonged in a different place. A place with people more like him. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe I belonged in a different place. More with the living. But so long as there was my father, there was a place for me to hide. And so long as there was a place for me to hide, there was no reason to build a new home for the person I'd become. This is very hard for me to do because it's very selfish, but after Christmas vacation, my father will no longer be living with me. What, Irene, is he going to die? Well, it's a confusing fact, Irene. All of us are going to die. And some of us haven't lived long enough yet to be ready. He'll know he's cared for. And we'll still take our walks on Sundays. And I'm going to make his home my home. And I'm going to bring in some plants, and I'm going to change the heavy curtains, and I'm going to bring back my piano, and I'm going to put a mirror by the front door, and every day I'm going to try to look myself in the eye before I go out the door. And I'm going to wish myself something. What, Paul? What will I wish? I'm going to wish myself well. That's my Christmas present to me. In January, you're going to have a replacement teacher because Miss Fallon won't be coming here anymore. What, Alan? Where am I going? Well, I really don't know. Well, no, probably not Miami. I just know that I can't keep coming back here and borrow your happiness anymore. I have to create some of my own. I see the future as a succession of corners to turn with music. I see it as full of clouds and vapors, but with something signaling to me from the other side of fear. This is very hard for me. Zorber, what are you doing standing on that window ledge? You're going to jump. You're going to jump because you think you've been bad all semester and that's why Miss Fallon is leaving? And that's why you brought me apples. Zorber, if you jump out that window, you're going to make Miss Fallon very hurt because then I wouldn't have a chance to thank you. You see, you think you've been coming here to school every day to learn things. But I've learned a thing or three myself. And besides, you have a wonderful mission ahead of you should you choose to accept it. You can teach some effervescent young know-it-all from State Teachers College the meaning of absolute humility by the end of the year. Sound like fun? So come down here and quit acting like an imbecile. Oh, I know they don't talk to you like that at home because they're overeducated. What's your mother's degree in again? The philosophy of psychology. I rest my case. I bet she can't butter your toast without courting a cerebral hemorrhage. They think too much. And they're afraid of you because you know there are things you can't reason. You know there are things you can't know. And you know that there are important things that just take a leap of some kind, but not that kind. So come down here and be with me for a few more minutes. Well, I hope you have a nice Christmas vacation and that Santa's good to you. And I want you to remember something. You don't owe anybody anything. Anything you owe has been paid in full because your skin is soft and your eyes are clear and your smiles are ready. You don't owe anything. You're a gift all by yourselves. Goodbye, chicks.